Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies strengthening your business while offering your talents to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Hey, welcome everybody. Giver Marketing Network, Kingdom Warriors University, and all the others watching across internet land. Get ready, buckle up, because Dr. Barrett Matthews is with us today. Media Boss Pro. This gentleman is elite, man. He had me on his podcast recently. We've been going back and forth, getting to know each other, working together on different things. He's producing our podcast. There's just lots of good things happening. Look him up, ladies and gentlemen, on LinkedIn. Even now, just get yourself ready for this great time together. He's going to be sharing a little bit about how to really be a thought leader. Like, how does that really happen? Like, he's going to flip that conversation on its head, and we're going to go back and forth a little bit on it as well. But I tell you what, when it comes to podcasting, Dr. Barrett Matthews is my go-to guy. So I want to be able to kind of ask Dr. Can you share us, how did you get into this world, this media world? How did you become the media boss? Like, how does this even, like, how did that happen?
Well, it's funny. I always say the media boss logo is not about me. The moniker is not about me. It's about you. I want to make you a media boss. But how I got started is my major in college was mass media. And I worked in media when I got out of college. And one of the things that I did is I ended up getting away from media for a while, but as much as I got away, it kept pulling me back in. So it's like that, that line from the movie. But the thing is, as it kept pulling me back in, I realized a lot of media had evolved and business had evolved. But as much as business had evolved, a lot of business owners had not embraced media and the evolution. So I noticed that a lot of people were still going by the old way of thinking that if you wanted to be on TV, you hope someone thought you were interesting enough to be on a radio. You hope someone found you interesting enough to give you 2 minutes. Well, now media is literally at your fingertips. You can get on your phone, create your own media. You can get on your computer, create your own media. But I noticed a lot of business owners still were not doing that. So I said, I'll take it upon myself to make it so that I can make this happen for them. And that's how it came to be.
So you're on a mission to help others become the media boss that they need to be in today's modern world for their business. Okay, I'm getting. So at some point you had to kind of learn the art and the science of becoming a media boss, and then now you're sharing that with others on how to do that in their own, with their own brand, with their own companies, organizations, speakers, authors, coaches, those who are influencing, leading any kind of group or audience. They need their own channel. They need their own places to be able to, actually multiple channels come into their own channel, right? So yes. I love that. And we're working together on the same things. And I really appreciate your guidance, your insights, the technology. Yeah, take a look at Dr. Barrett's LinkedIn profile sometime. It'll show you everything you need to know from kind of a resume standpoint of like who you're going to be talking with, who you're going to be connecting with, because we're going to encourage you to do that. And even as we share a little bit of story here today, Dr. Barrett, I wanted to ask you, like, what are we going to be talking about here in just a minute? Because you have some gifts for the audience just right off the bat. You're just a giver, so we love that. But what are we going to be discussing today as we prepare and show maybe a visual of the gift you're giving away as well?
Well, this may step on some toes, Timothy, but I'm going to be discussing why nobody cares what you think.
Oh, okay. You just said it. All right. I thought I knew, because we had talked a little bit earlier, it was going to be a little bit upside down here, and I love that. I love just turning things up and looking at it from a different angle. I love how you're doing that. So, okay, so nobody cares what you think. ...
Right. ...
And how does okay, we're not gonna give it away. Let's do this. We have a visual that I'm gonna click on and bring up on the screen right now.
Mm-hmm.
You explain to me this gift, this goodie that you're going to be giving to the audience, and we're going to remind you it toward the end too. But grab this as fast as you can. It's 5 ways to payingclients.com.
Mm-hmm.
5 ways to payingclients.com. What do they get if they click around on that a little bit?
Well, what they're going to get, they're going to find out why they're not getting paid. First of all, they're going to find out what's stopping them from getting. A lot of people right now, you're spinning your wheels, you're setting appointments with people, you're getting people to show interest in what you're doing, but you're not getting people that are willing to pay you. And I'm going to show you why you're not getting that and how you can start getting those people that are going to generate money for you, because that's why we're in business. As someone once said to me, the business of business is making money. So if you're not making money, then you may have an expensive hobby. So what we want to do is to get you in position to where you can make money. So what I did is I put together a training on that. And then also it talks to you about one of the things I do a 5-day challenge called the Make Money from Media Challenge. And it talks about that as well. And it gives you the opportunity, if you want to sign up for the next challenge, you can do that as well. But what this does is gives you a 5 ways to paying clients to show you how you can start getting some clients that'll pay you.
So you can grab that if you type in the number 5 ways to paying clients.com, ladies and gentlemen. And so as we get into conversation with Dr. Barrett, we just wanted to front load this awesome interaction with a gift to say, look, Dr. Barrett knows what he's talking about. He wants to help you. He wants to help you generate some revenue so that you can continue to do what you're called to do. Like, continue to do what you really need to do and you feel like you're supposed to be doing. Who your audience is, how they're compensating you for helping them, what problem you're solving, all these kind of things are going to be a part of this conversation. So with that, we just want to encourage you, go ahead and grab your free gift even as we begin today, and that way you'll be jumping into the pool with us. Okay, all right, so that's a little bit of the goodies that we're going to be giving away, but tell us a little bit more of these goodies that you wanted to bring from a conversational standpoint. What people don't care what you think. Like, tell it. What do you mean by that? Unpack that a little bit for us, Doctor.
Well, just a little bit. What I'm saying is this: a lot of us like to get on social media or like to get in front of people when we are at events, and we love to just tell these people what we think, what our opinions are, what our thoughts are. And I'm not saying that your thoughts are not valid. I'm not saying that they are not powerful. I'm not saying that they are not good enough. What I'm saying is that they're not big enough yet, because people don't care what you think until you're a media boss, until you can control your own media. So that's what we're going to be talking about, Timothy.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you right, there's a credibility factor that has to come with your thoughts, ideas, and interesting statements. There's a
credibility factor, but there's also a magnitude issue, because people aren't getting their message out to enough people.
So there's a credibility and a volume factor.
And a volume, right.
From how many eyes and ears. Okay, I think I hear what you're saying. Okay, this is good. So tell us a little bit more about how do we solve that problem? Like, what is needed to at least take a baby step or a few bigger steps in that direction, depending on where we are. If we're starting out, like, what are the baby steps? And then if we're actually like already kind of got some content going, I know you've been helping us with this same kind of thing. You already got some content going. How do we broadcast this to a wider audience with class? Like, how does this look? How do we do this?
Well, the thing is, the first is become a boss of yourself. And what I mean by that is stop allowing other people to control what is said, what is created, what is done about you. Make sure that you know what's going on. And a lot of us would rather let someone else control it, and we just become a media figure. And I say, don't just become a media figure, become a media boss where you can control these things. So, Timothy, just to dig a little bit deeper on that. So let's talk about like control what is written about you. A lot of us have been blessed enough to have had people want to put us in anthology books because they like our content. A lot of us have had people want to include us in articles or write blogs about us, but we don't have our own that we control. And that's one way of controlling your own media, just by doing that. Another thing is control what is seen about you. Like, fortunately, Timothy thought enough of me to invite me on this podcast. We're here on StreamYard, so people are getting ready to see me through all areas of social media out there. But fortunately, I also have my video podcast. Fortunately, I'm also putting information out on social media and things like that, so that way I can control my own media. Because let's say, for instance, just to dive off the subject for a little bit, let's say, for instance, Timothy put my information out, but he didn't put me in a light that I liked, or he edited it to a way to where I didn't want that part out because it doesn't give the whole context of what I'm saying. I lost control of that. So it's up to me to make sure I have control of my media. And that's just part of it. I mean, there's more to it, but that's just part of it. You should control your media, because if you don't control it, you're pretty much leaving yourself up to what everyone else wants to portray of you.
I'm highly involved in the movie business, and I think I'm picking up what you're putting down. If you're not producing some of your own content,
right,
you're really taking a pretty significant risk. The brands of these other platforms and shows and experiences and stages and all the different experience, just opportunities that you're being asked to come onto, you're relying on their brand credibility, their style, their preferences, their editing. To your point, they're edited like it's not just that you're happy to be on a stage. It's you need to actually create your own stage at some point. Okay. I like what I hear what you're saying. So tell us more about, how do we do that if we're either in the beginning or medium, kind of middle part of our journey, or we're still trying to build our brand, our credibility, our stages, our own production, if you will, to make sure that we have a clean, clear brand that is out there somewhere, and it's associated with your company name, personal name, depending on how you brand yourself. How does this? What are some of the steps?
Well, the one thing is, kind of as you said, know who you're serving first of all. You need to know who your audience is, who you serve, and how you help them.
So ladies and gentlemen, write this down. Be your own media boss. Know who you serve.
Yes.
Be your own media boss. That was earlier. I'm sure some folks are already popping in comments already. I'm just take some notes in the comments, and know who you are called to serve. This is gold. Because if you don't do these two things, if I'm hearing you right, if you don't do these two things, everything else kind of becomes a distant, second or third priority. So tell us more about how do we find out who our preferred audience is, or who we're called to? How do we do that in your mind?
Well, you need to figure out what it is that you do uniquely. See, the thing is, nobody here decided I want to go into business if they didn't feel they did something uniquely. Because everybody that starts on their own, they figure I do something different than other people, and that's great. Now, and I hate to say it like this, just because you do something different doesn't always mean it should be a business. But
Ooh, that's real talk. That's real talk.
It is real talk. But the thing is, if you can turn it into a business, then that means it should be serving someone. A lot of us, we think we do something different and, oh, I start a business with it. But you've never had anyone say that they'd be willing to pay for it. So you need to, first of all, determine, is it something that people would be willing to pay for? That way you can turn it into a business, because otherwise it just may be something you do well. I had a friend who made gift baskets, but she enjoyed making gift baskets, but she kept saying she wanted to turn it into a business. But would people buy it to the level that you can sell it and live off of it? I don't know. Do you have the capacity to create that many gift baskets to live off? I don't know.
That's a fair question.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things. So if you're in business for yourself, make sure that you have something unique. Make sure you can serve people, and make sure it's something scalable that you can live off. Now, back to the media part of it.
Okay.
If you know who your audience is, if you know that you can control it, then start. Just start. It's stop overcomplicating this. Start. You're gonna make mistakes. Yes, you will make mistakes. It's not a if you make mistakes. You will make mistakes, and that's great. Now you have something to learn from. You can make the mistakes and learn from them, and then progress after that. But I also caution people, don't make a habit of making mistakes. Find someone who's done it before, learn from them. And here's the thing that a lot of people don't like to hear, Timothy. Pay them to learn from them. We want to learn everything free. No, you're not. Here, let me tell y'all something. And I'm going to speak for myself, so I won't put anyone else under the bus. Timothy just talked a few minutes ago about my complimentary gift to you guys. Yes, it's free, because I want to teach you all some things. I want to give to you. But do you think I gave you everything I know there? No, of course not. If you want to learn more, you would have to pay for it. Same with Timothy. Same with any other business person. We will give you a certain amount of information, but if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of it all, you will have to pay someone. So be willing to pay to learn, to get to another level of expertise. It's okay. I mean, I pay coaches. God knows how much money I've spent on coaches, but and training and so forth. But it's helped me. It's helped me in the long run. So I don't regret it. It's an investment in my business and an investment in myself. So be willing to do those things. If you make sure that you get started by finding out who you serve, and then you put yourself in a position where you are willing to make the mistakes, and then be willing to pay someone to help you so you don't repeat mistakes, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Trust me. I know it because I've lived it.
I hear some people say, I spent a lot of, like you said earlier, I spent a lot of money on coaches, and the most successful people I know have spent quite a bit on coaches or programs, or really well done, very clearly communicated courses or products that would make sense for, fast tracking what you're already going to be doing. If you're clear on where you're going, people are starting to buy your stuff.
Yeah.
You got kind of what they call a minimum viable product, like it's an MVP.
Yeah.
It's happening. If you pay somebody, look, there's a lot of ways to pay people. So if you pay somebody, just pay. If you pay somebody for their attention, their time, their talent, their technology, some ways they're putting all that together. They've gone before you, maybe spent 5, 10, 15 years doing something. They've proven that it can happen. They can still tell you the stories from when they started and now where they are now. That's why we need big brothers and sisters in the room. That's true. That's why we need elders in the room. That's why we need coaches and consultants. And that's why that's one of the biggest, fastest growing businesses in the world, because information alone is not enough. You need application. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, Dr. Barrett, I appreciate you sharing with us how to kind of just get our mindset right as we get going to another level. Whether we have a broadcast already or whether we're just starting, haven't done much at all, thank you for helping us get to that next level of thinking. Like, I'm looking at some of the comments coming in right now, and I've worked with so many. these folks, and you have too, and there's been introductions back and forth, and
Yeah,
there's so much value in being in the right rooms with the right people. This is why I love hanging out with you. All right, so get started. Write that in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. Get started. And I'm gonna add something. Get started even though it's uncomfortable. Because you said it. You said it. Get started even though it's uncomfortable. Now, that for different people, that can mean different things. Get started with your first broadcast. Get started with a paid broadcast. Get started with a bigger broadcast. Get started with a broadcast with bells and whistles around it. Just get started, even though it's uncomfortable. Okay, good. So you got that. We got that going in the comments. Dr. Barrett, what's another tip for us to get our mind right? Like get our confidence and our courage and our mind right on how to do this.
Get rid of the anxiety. A lot of people, and I'm just having this conversation with someone the other day. They said that they have this fear of being on camera, this fear of speaking. And I've said, it's not a fear you have. It's an anxiety. I learned this from the great Dr. Myron Golden. He said, with most people, the biggest cause of procrastination is anxiety. And we sit there and we say fear. But as he said, fear is a caution over a real danger. Well, there's no real danger of getting on camera. There's no real danger of you speaking. It's an anxiety. And here's the funny thing about anxiety. You ready for this, guys? You made it up. You made it up. Think about it. What's going to really happen to you if you get on camera? Nothing. But you've told yourself that all of these, they may not like me. Oh, I may look ugly or something. Or something may happen. But nothing, it's nothing real. You made it up. I always liken it to this example, Timothy. I say, if you go out to your car today and someone puts a gun to your head and says, give me your money or I'll shoot you, that's a fear because there is a real danger. But if you don't go out tomorrow because you said, well, somebody might put another gun to my head. Now that's anxiety. You made that up because you put that in your head and it may happen. And a lot of us allow anxiety to keep us from getting started. A lot of us use anxiety to stop us from progressing. I don't want to put out that blog. I don't want to write that book because of this, because of that. And these are all things that we've made up in our head. So how do you stop that? One thing you have to do is be able to recognize the fact that it's anxiety and not fear. Be able to recognize the fact that it's not really happening, that you made it up. And since you made it up, it's like a fairy tale. It's make-believe. It's not real. So
different personality types out there, Dr. Barrett. Let's break this down from a little deeper level for just a second, because I know, because we've done so much of this already. I kind of feel where this is going. This is getting really juicy. Ladies and gentlemen, write down fear or anxiety ? Fear or anxiety ? Because that's a real point of prayer. It's a real question. It's a very, let's talk about the different personality types. Extremes. Okay, there's a whole spectrum, and we all play on this spectrum at any given time. We're always going back and forth, all do different things, but generally people tend to gravitate, the gravity takes them toward realist or optimist.
Yes.
Right. So, and I'm just using terms we all know these terms, right? So a realist is someone going to be like, well, what if this and what if that? And I'm gonna plan on this because I'm being real like this. There could be some things that might go wrong, or there could be this. And then an optimist is like, nothing's gonna go wrong. What are you talking about? We just gotta go, because even a mistake is just failing forward and this and that. And then like there's like two like almost like different like voices in the room, always like talking to us, and they're not evil, and they're not both wrong. They're not both right. They might be both right, but they're not necessarily both wrong in the deepest sense of the word. How do we? Can you speak to both of those folks, like the realist and the optimist? How do we?
There's a third side there. It's pessimist. Okay. That's the pessimist.
Well, that's the dark side of the realist. They're like,
right. Because see, there's another side to the realist. The realist, like you said, what if this goes wrong? The realist also can say, what if this goes right? That's not necessarily optimist. It's just, what if this happens? What if? And see, here's the funny thing is, I've seen I've seen someone go use both sides at the same time. Have you heard this one before? Well, what if I get too many clients and I can't handle it? Have you ever heard that one before?
I have. I don't understand it, but
well, it's funny because I say to them, I say, well, you don't have that problem yet. I said, why don't you go ahead and create it and get too many clients? Because I guarantee you, when you get too many clients, you'll figure out a way to handle them. But right now, you don't have any clients. So why don't we?
Speaking of getting paid, you got too many clients. Just raise your stinking prices. What are you doing? Like, goodness gracious.
But the thing is, people look at that. They're people that are realists. These are realists. They say, what if this goes wrong? But then there's some realists that say, well, what if I do succeed at this? And I'll be honest with you. That person, that realist on the positive side is usually the reason why people start a business.
Oh, okay. Wait. You just blew my mind. Hold on. We're live and I'm melting right now. Hold on. Give me a second. So you just said pessimist.
Uh-huh.
Is that what you said? Pessimist, right?
Pessimist, uh-huh.
Okay, so what if the spectrum in my little brain, just to keep it simple, is on one extreme is actually pessimist. I'm just reiterating what you're saying.
Yeah, go ahead.
The other side is optimist, and in the middle is realist.
Realist. Ooh.
Okay, that'll help me. That'll help me a lot because I used to think of the realist on the extreme end, but actually the way you framed it and the way you communicated, much like Myron Golden does on some things, that middle ground where anxiety hasn't taken over.
Right.
It's actually a neutral. It's like a more neutral and contemplative place that doesn't have extreme like anxieties built into it. It's look, what if both sides?
Yeah.
What if, and just clear evaluation, risk and reward, just clearly evaluating. Very interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, somebody needs to write that down in the comments somehow. I don't know how that's going to look for you,
but that was good, Timothy. That was really good.
I know what Dr. Barrett just spoke into my life just now. So, okay, what's next? So we get started. We recognize that what we're dealing with most of the time is not real. It's not real fear. It's maybe unwarranted fear that actually is. It's anxiety disguised as fear or something like that. Like, okay, all right. So we're getting real here. Like, what do we do next? Let's say we've had enough courage. Dr. Barrett is prophetically encouraging us. He's bringing courage to us. So let's say we take the courage and go through and just drive right through the anxiety, and we're on the other side of that. What do we do?
Well, once we've driven through it, it's easy to start. So now it's just a matter of how do you want to start your media venture for your business? And don't get me wrong, I always my way is not the only way. I usually start people with a podcast. Now, the reason I start with a podcast is because if I told you, Timothy, if I said, look, I want you to write 3 articles about giving. Okay, you can do it, but it would take you some time to figure out what your thoughts and so forth. If I said, let's get on this podcast here and let's start talking about giving, you could do it right away. You could do it right away because it flies off the top of your head and right through your tongue right there. You can just talk about it. That's why I started with podcasting, because it's easy to talk about what you care about and what you love than any other thing. So if I get you talking about it, if I record it, guess what? I've got a podcast. Doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be started. It has to get done. So once I do that, guess what? If I put a camera in front of it like we have now, I have a podcast that's video. And here's something that most people may or may not know. The same people that listen to your audio podcast are not the same people that watch your video podcast and vice versa. So you have 2 different audiences right there.
Because of the modalities of learning and processing information and just preferences and seasons of life and travel and not travel and just all different things.
Exactly. And so exactly. Because these are people who have different ways. Here's one thing I want people to understand. Everybody, everybody out there consumes information through at least one form of media. At least one. So like you're doing it right now. You're consuming information through a form of media. So if everyone consumes through at least one form of media, it's correct to assume that you're going to touch different people if you have media on different platforms. So
Okay.
what we're doing right now is saying, like, if I have a podcast just on audio, I'm only getting a certain group of people. If I expand it to video now, I have audio and video. If I take that and I transcribe it, I can put that into a blog, another group of people. I can take that and put it into an ebook, another group of people. I can take a culmination of episodes and put it into a hard copy book that I create, another group of people. I can make newsletters. Check this out. You see over my shoulder here, I have this light here. I could put a camera in there and I could do a making of my podcast and make it into a documentary film. I can take my episodes and turn them into a Roku TV channel and make my own show on a streaming channel. I can do webinars on how to create a podcast. All of these things can be done on various different platforms. Now, guess what? I only did one thing. I created one piece of content, but I put it on several different channels.
You can clip that stuff up and go social media.
Social media, another one.
Yeah, some of this stuff used to cost tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now it costs hundreds of dollars, maybe a few $1,000s if you want to fast track and get it done right. But today's world, it's like if you're not doing this, you're going to be left behind. I'm not trying to give anybody unwarranted fear. I'm just saying the reality of it is the realistic conversation. Is, like you can do this and run through the anxiety and get through that and just go. And it doesn't have to be like somebody else. It's got to be you. It's got to be your authentic self, right? But at the same time, if you're just stuck doing things like you did 10, 12, 15 years ago, or even 5 years ago, oh man, I just want to pray for you right now, Lord.
yes,
Lord. To do some new things and courage. Okay, all right. So
let me add to what you just said real quick, because a lot of people, that anxiety keeps them from doing just what you just said there, because they will tell themselves, well, that sounds overwhelming. Doing all those things. And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to take a lot of your time, but you have to get it out of your head that it will be overwhelming, that it will be too much for you. Instead of telling your brain that you can't do it, ask your brain, how can I? That's all I have.
I will say this, that the folks that we've had on our broadcast, we're Christine and the team, Joel, and just the team you're helping us on quite a bit of this as well, Dr. Barrett. We're taking our game to another level. And I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, our audience of marketing professionals, ministry-minded leaders, these people that are changing the world for good, whether you're leading a cause or a company, it almost doesn't matter to some extent because of this. Where we're landing the plane here today, and then we'll go into other conversation. There is a point at which you want people to pay attention to what you're doing in a different way. And if they're not paying for deeper access, what's the phrase that people pay more attention to what they pay for? So like everybody you see on this broadcast, we've made some kind of arrangement where we're helping each other. We're exchanging platforms. We're making sure it's in line with our brand. Some folks are paying them, most of the folks are paying a membership to some degree in our network to be able to just have this kind of experience and access. Yeah. So I just want to encourage everybody to talk to Dr. Barrett Matthews, because even some of the things he's helping us with in the short period of time has taken our courage, our confidence to another level. And we're beginning to be very, very selective with who we bring onto our broadcast, and it's causing a ripple effect of revenue. And it may not be direct at first, but it's indirect, and then it moves to direct. And so there's a baby step that kind of goes into that. But Dr. Barrett Matthews will help you fast track that. So I just want to encourage you, if you haven't looked him up on LinkedIn yet and said, hey, I saw you on the Giver thing, or I saw you on the Kingdom Warriors thing, or I saw you on the, just reference where you saw him, and he'll know exactly kind of what was being talked about. bottom line is, I think we're about to land the plane here, Dr. Barrett. What do you have for us as we kind of approach the landing strip, if you will?
Well, well, you already gave the gift away, but
we're going to show that in a minute.
Okay.
For those sitting on, for those
what I have for you is to really break away from your anxiety and get started. Like I said, you can use media in a lot of different ways. The reason I started out by saying nobody cares what you think is because you're not using media properly. Use media so that you can find those people, or rather they can find you when they're looking for you. There are two different paradigms that I tell people that we need to break. One is that you need to find your avatar and go where they are. I say find your avatar and make it so they can find you. You want to find people that are looking for you. That makes it easy. You don't have to close people that are looking for you. Second thing is, we're taught to focus on one thing in the media and just stay there and drill down on it. And I tell people, as you heard me say earlier, if you drill down on one thing, you only get one group of people, when there are people all over the world who use different platforms of media. If you only have a podcast on audio, that means you're missing that person who likes to read books. If you only have a book, you're missing that person that likes to use streaming TV. If you only have streaming TV, you're missing that person that likes to watch documentaries on business. All of these things, you need to make sure your business, as I always say, everywhere all at once. And you can do that through media. So if you get started with that, I promise you, you will attract those people that are looking for you. And if they're looking for you and they can find you, you won't have to close them at all.
5 ways to paying clients.com, ladies and gentlemen. If you're feeling encouraged, you want a little bit more of this go-go juice, and you want to be able to move to that next level, 5 ways to paying clients.com. Check it out. Dr. Barrett is the real deal. He's somebody who actually puts his faith where his life is. He puts his life where his faith is, and vice versa. And he also pays very close attention to those he works with. So I just want to encourage you to reach out to him in one way, shape, or form, and you will be blessed beyond belief. Okay, so here we go. We're going to welcome our team into the room. This is where some people have the hot seat, Dr. Barrett. We have the love seat. We're just going to encourage you. We're going to encourage you.
Bring your love.
And some positivity, some positive questions, some questions that we're not sure about. And we always like to come with questions.
Sure.
Sometimes we have things, okay, this stood out to us, but here's my question. Okay, this is what my takeaway, but here's my question. So anybody have a kind of a takeaway and a quick question for Dr. Barrett at this point, what do you remember, and then what question do you have for him?
Well, I'll just jump in. I love that statement, everywhere all at once. And I think, when you're talking about that, Dr. Barrett Matthews, just curious, how do you find that level of distribution?
Well, and the thing is, I'm glad you said that, Joel, because a lot of people, they misconstrue what I'm saying. They're thinking that you have to dominate every market. And what I'm saying is you just need to have a presence on the market. You don't have to dominate that. I use the example a lot of times of the comedian Kevin Hart. Now, as you know, Kevin Hart dominates in film, but he has a presence in ebooks. He has a presence in books. He has a presence in audiobooks. He has a presence in streaming TV. He has a presence on a podcast, but he dominates in film. The thing is, what he did, and I tell people he did that by design. It wasn't by luck or happenstance. He did that because he wanted to make sure that he stayed relevant. And the same thing applies to your business. You don't need to create distribution as to where you're dominant in every area, but you can create distribution as to where you're just present. Now, what my company does is we help people distribute that. So if someone's willing to work with us, we actually show them how to do that. I also go over how you can do it yourself in my Make Money from Media challenge. But what I tell people is that you just want to have a presence on different areas. You don't need to dominate them. Just make sure that if someone is looking for you on that platform, they can find you.
Come on. Okay. Gosh, I got a question coming up now too. Thanks, Joel. Who else has maybe a quick comment and a question?
So what are your thoughts then about the non-mainstream areas? You say be everywhere, right? A lot of times people are, okay, I'm familiar with LinkedIn, I'm familiar with Facebook. How much time and energy should they invest in being everywhere on some of the smaller platforms or the specialized platforms or the non-mainstream ones that we think of?
Well, are you just talking social media?
Yeah, let's talk social for the moment.
Well, I'm not a big proponent of being everywhere on social media.
Okay.
For instance, that let's say, for instance, if you have an accounting firm, well, being on Pinterest is not going to do you much good for an accounting firm. But LinkedIn would be definitely a good area for you to be on. So when I say be everywhere all at once, I consider social media as one media channel. So all of social media is one media channel. I consider streaming video. I consider film as another. I consider television and podcasting. These are all different ones, but social media I consider as one channel, because let's face it, there's a different social media out every week.
Fair point. Good point.
Yeah.
JT, what do you got?
That was a lot of what I was going to ask, was about because being everywhere, and I'm a big component of, like, I choose one social media and that's the one that I go after.
Yeah.
If you were to do if you were to say, you said you wanted to start people in podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a specific reason why a podcast versus because you did talk about, like, you can't do a blog, but is there a specific reason why you would go for a podcast instead of like a different area? And when you do podcasts, are you talking video podcasts or audio podcasts?
Well, great question, Joel. I say a podcast mainly because, like I mentioned to Timothy, it's easy for you to talk about what you love.
Yeah.
Just like right now, we can talk about it, as long as we hit record, we got ourselves a podcast. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you can work on perfecting it as you keep doing it. But the thing is to get started. Now, I used to say either or, audio or video. Now I say video for two main reasons. One is because you can always extract the audio and put it on different platforms. The other reason is because video is king now. More people have more success on YouTube with their podcast than they do the audio platforms like Spotify and iTunes. Here's something that, and a lot of people, we've been taught, and someone said once that Joe Rogan ruined it for everyone, that we've been taught that you get a certain number of downloads on your audio platform and you'll attract all the big sponsors and stuff to your podcast, and then you can start earning money. That is true. But we're talking a lot of downloads. We're talking a lot. I'm talking like 6 figures worth of downloads to really start making some money. Now, most people don't get that. Most people don't get it. Here's the other thing. Let's say YouTube. We all know, like, you can start monetizing YouTube with 1,000 subscribers. Still, you're not making a lot of money. But here's the big difference between those two. I would rather have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube than 100,000 downloads on audio. Why? Because when I have someone download on audio, I have zero way of communicating with them. I have no way of knowing who they are, how they got there, or anything. I just know it's a number. When someone subscribes to my YouTube channel, you all know this, you get a notification that such and such subscribed to your YouTube channel. You can reach out to them through YouTube, through your chat, or maybe through email or something. And you can put a call to action link in there for them on your notes for them to contact you. But the thing is, I would rather have YouTube because I know I can get in touch with the people. With the downloads, I have no way. So now I own all my clients. I don't give them the option of doing audio or video. I include both because I just feel I would be doing them a disservice if I only did audio for them.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for that question. I appreciate it.
Well said. We got some folks. If you have any questions, put them in the comments now, because we're coming to the end of our broadcast and we want to honor you, those who are listening live or even recorded. Pop your questions in the comments, because we periodically go back through and make sure that we're answering those questions. But if you have a comment or you're taking some kind of notes and kind of in the broadcast as we speak, that's going to help us all in the future. So go ahead and pop in your comments or your questions now. I I'm thinking through this from if I'm really starting to see some traction in business, and I need to have a presence in multiple places, but I don't have a lot of time. Like I got kids running around. I got maybe I even still have a 9-to-5 job, but I'm starting to see some traction in my business. Or maybe I don't have the 9-to-5 job. It's just I'm still getting my systems down in my business so that I could really start scaling. When's the good timing? Can you help us with timing on when to go ahead and put her head out there and turn on the camera?
Yesterday, but when I just had this conversation yesterday with a client who just signed up with me because that was her big obstacle. She's like, I don't know if I have a lot of time. I said, let me ask you a question. Do you think that you can talk about 20 minutes on your subject matter? She said, oh, all day. I said, do you think that you could talk 20 minutes maybe 5 times in a week? She said, yeah, easy. I said, then if you can do that, we got ourselves a good amount of episodes, because if you talk 20 minutes, that's a good podcast episode right there. And I said, if we can take that, if you can do it 5 times in a week, and you did that, let's say for a month, we've got a good amount. We got a lot of episodes already done in the can. The one thing I tell people is that if you batch record and put your podcast already aside, and that she's going to work with our company, so we're going to actually edit them for her, and we're going to put them up on the sites so her job is done. so now when life happens, which happens to all of us, and you feel, oh God, I don't have time to record this week, you don't have to worry. It's already done. So when I told this lady, it alleviated her stress right away, because she realized that she had the time. She just needed to create it and get it to me. And at that point, it's done. So now she can go ahead and do her business, live her life, do whatever she wants to do, because her podcast will be out there working for her.
Now, what if somebody has a YouTube channel that they've been broadcasting on, kind of experimenting with, and getting their rhythm, getting their focus on how they want to broadcast? Can you come in and partner with them at that point and take what they've already created and say, hey, let's take the best of the best, and let's turn this into something like magical. Like let's really rock this. Is that something that you've been doing quite a bit of?
Yeah, we have people like yourselves and everyone else. They have content already done, but they may need it doctored up. May need to put a banner around it. May need to put some different fonts on it. To may need to make it look, as they say, sexy. Is when they put it out there so people can say, you know what, I like this. My eyes are attracted to this. I want to stay tuned to it, instead of just looking like it's a YouTube video you put up from a Zoom recording. So people may want to make it look good. So you want to make it look good. We can do that. We can doctor it up for you.
Okay. So it makes it visually appealing so that it complements. It's kind of like I was talking to somebody recently about a restaurant. Sometimes the experience going into a restaurant determines how good the food tastes.
Yes.
And there's scientific studies about this all over the place. And you know where I'm going with this. Like, let's make it look and feel right as you get into the experience. And then as the audio or video content hits your mind and your heart and your eyes and your ears, you're already like hungry. Like it's already like you're excited, and you clicked on it for a reason, but then it gets even better and then better and then better.
And it does more for your brand, because usually when we do that, we tie your brand and your brand colors and your logo with it. So what it'll do is people will see it. Think about if someone's watching a video with you for 20 minutes or an hour, whatever, and they see your brand colors and your logo all around it the whole time. Well, now that's embedded in their brain now. And then they're not even looking at it, focusing on it, but it's coming in their brain. So now that's branding for you. So now when they see your brand elsewhere on something else, they'll recognize that's you because they've seen it enough times.
And that's why you help people become media boss pros.
There you go.
Because it's professional. Let's do this right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to kind of land the plane here. If you have any questions at all, go ahead and put them in the comments. Maybe your takeaway. Let's ask for the takeaway in the comments so that you have an action item for yourself. I'm going to record my first video this week. I'm going to record 5 videos next week. I'm going to record this many audio recordings so I can send them to Dr. Matthews later. I'm going to do this. What is your action step? Because we're big on what we call organic accountability. Like, what's your action steps? So put it in the comments so that we can help you, encourage you. It also inspires other people. So when you put those things in the comments, it really helps not only our broadcast, but it also helps everybody that's watching say, oh, I can do that too. If Susie Q can do it, if so-and-so can do it. I see Rico Macadori. I see some of the other folks that are part of our extended network, just power partners and others rocking it, and all different folks on Facebook, folks on YouTube. I see folks on all different channels right now just chiming in, making comments. So if that's you, go ahead and make a comment, whether you're listening to this live or recorded. Okay. So we want to encourage you that way. As people reach out to you, Dr. Barrett, what can they expect? As you just kind of have that initial conversation, what is it going to be? A phone call? Is it going to be a quick chat back and forth on LinkedIn? Like what's going to happen?
Well, what we'll do is we'll schedule a Zoom and we'll get on and we'll talk about what is it that about them. It's not about me. It's about them and what drives them and what makes them even want to get themselves out there. Why do they feel that they have to do this? I want people that are creating media for a reason, not just because they think it's something fun.
Okay. So let's say they have a reason behind, a purpose behind, a mission behind what they're doing. It's starting to get pretty good as far as like they're able to present something with intelligence and focus. It's starting to get some traction. They reach out to you. You guys have a Zoom, and is there a cost? Do you pay $500 for that quick Zoom, or like how is it? The
Zoom? No, we do. It's a complimentary session we do with you to find out if it's something we can do together.
Okay, a lot of folks will charge for that level of like.
That is true.
Like insightful questions. I know this from the coaching world. Insightful questions can be just as powerful as somebody coming in and telling you what to do. Insightful questions from Dr. Barrett, ladies and gentlemen, for 20, 30 minutes or whatever it ends up being, can be extraordinarily powerful and valuable. Just honor his time, show up on time, be there, ready to answer answer and ask questions yourself, and be able to kind of absorb like a sponge what you need to do to take that next step. And he's patient. He was patient with us as we started getting going. He's like, okay, we need to do this now. Okay, now we can do this. Let's work together. And he'll guide you through the whole process so that all you got to do is push record, and then he'll tell you if it's broadcast worthy or not. You don't need to even worry about that. He'll let you know. He's got the eyes and the ears of a professional, so he'll be able to help you with that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's a wrap for today. Please pop your questions in the comments. We will circle back around. Dr. Barrett will circle back around himself on some of the channels and make sure that we don't miss anybody. 5 ways to payingclients.com if you want to rock it with his free resources as well. Okay. God bless you guys. We'll see you soon.
Thank you guys.
Right. Christine, as we wrap up today, if you want to mention it's not a broadcast, but it's a networking experience. It's a private networking experience. It is not broadcasted. Go ahead and let people know about that as we wrap up today.
Yeah, on Wednesdays, we love getting together with other marketers. So it's networking for marketers. So don't be a lonelypreneur. Come hang out with us. Bounce ideas off of other marketers. The tide rises all, so we can all help each other. So join us at 8 a.m. on Pacific time or 11 a.m. Eastern time. Register at givermarketing.com/networking and come hang out with us.
/networking. If you're a marketing professional who loves working with causes and companies doing good in the world, this is where you want to be. So, all right, everybody else, hang on for a second. We're going to go ahead and end the broadcast, and then we're going to have a little bit of